Welcome to the Self Storage Insight Podcast. I'm Ben Shirey, Matt Markham. Thanks for joining me today, buddy.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
Awesome. We are going to be talking today about the upcoming changes in the season. Self-storage is getting ready to go into a cycle that everybody always kind of dreads. The slower season is approaching, but we're not there yet. But it is always good to be thinking ahead and getting your strategy ready for how you're going to work through the slow season.
Yep. So yeah, a lot of opportunity, still ahead of us until we do get to the slow season, and that's kind of what we're going to discuss here.
For sure. Yeah. Like, when should I start to make moves to prepare for the slow season? How can I kind of capitalize on the college rentals that are getting ready to be taking place or are already starting to take place in some markets? And so there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of adjustments that you can make to kind of feel less of the impact of the slow season, and so that's kind of some of the stuff we're going to talk about on the podcast today. So,
cool.
Yeah, should be fun. Let's start off with where we're at today. So it's coming to the end of summer. People are still kind of wrapping up their summer vacations, and kids are heading back to school. So everybody, I know, like for me personally, we're super busy. I don't feel like I've had a weekend to do anything for the last 6 or 7 weeks. It's just been wild, and so playing off of a lot of how are your tenants feeling? What are they experiencing? What are they going through? Should also play into your business strategy in terms of your pricing, your price increases, your rate, how you're managing your rates, all of that stuff. And then now, like the other big one for most facilities is going to be college move-ins.
Yep. Yeah. And it's important you do have a strategy. Whether it's your manager and yourself, or your manager has a good strategy in play that you guys have gone over. But it can be crucial in the slow season, depending on your location and your market.
For sure. Yeah. So you're gonna see a big fluctuation again, depending on your market. In college markets, you're going to be seeing move outs. So you're going to be seeing all of the kids that stored their stuff over summer. They did a month to month rental thing and put their stuff in there until they move back into their dorm. Yeah. So you're going to get some fluctuation there. You're going to get some kids moving out. There are some strategies that we've seen around that where it was like, hey, we're going to actually discount your rate to just keep that unit and stay there for, X amount of times, giving them like a student rate type thing.
Yeah, like a semester rate or a student rate or a flat rate, a fixed rate.
Right.
Yeah.
And really a lot of those strategies depend on your occupancy, right? So if you're full, you don't need to do things like that because you actually want those people to move out to give you opportunity to get new tenants to move in with new rate increase strategies and all of that stuff. So it's definitely not something that everybody needs to do. However, in some markets where you're struggling to get to that 85 or 90% occupancy and you're stuck in lease up or whatever, there are some things that you can implement there to try to keep some of those college students from leaving.
Yeah.
On the flip side of it, you definitely don't want to be lowering your street rates right now because you're going to get an influx for all those students that need to move into their dorm. All of a sudden they need more space, and so they're renting from you right now.
And also parents are willing to pay. Yeah. It's all about convenience, security, and they are very willing to pay. So that's something you want to keep in mind too. You don't need to just drop your rates to get people moved in. Mm-hmm. It's at that time of year, and
for sure.
They're willing to spend money.
They're willing to spend money on the most convenient locations. So I think there's a big trade-off there of like, who benefits from this, right? And it's, the convenience that parents are willing to pay for to set their kids up for a better future as they have a more convenient college experience, right? Yeah. So some facilities would really benefit from that. Some won't. But again, it depends on your location there. And then also offering things like prepayment for the school year where the parents can pay for their kids so their kids don't have to worry about, or they don't have to worry about making that payment. Definitely drive auto pay, either require auto pay on those rentals or, offer some type of prepayment option.
Yeah, prepayment, some sort of reservation, a price lock or a price guarantee or a guarantee that unit will be available. Those are some things that would help encourage these
for sure. Yeah. We've heard that a lot as far as like the price lock thing. It's kind of counterintuitive. A lot of operators push, we want to do rate increases, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Mm-hmm. And we want to have more structured rate increase options so we can kind of condition our tenants. And then other people are doing price locks and they are not doing rate increases, and then that helps them differentiate. So a lot of it comes back to your business. How do you want to run your business? What type of operator are you? Yeah. But we've definitely
operating cost, everything.
Yeah,
comes into account.
Yeah. But there's definitely a strategy there that works for both operators, right? We've seen success from people doing the price lock. We've seen tons of success from rate increases, obviously. And so it really is what works in your market and how do you want to run your business and how do you want to brand your business in the community. So make sure you're considering those things as you head into this. But yeah, I mean, we're about 3 months from hitting a big lull, right? We're going to be into November and December. Move-ins are significantly more difficult in that time of the year. And so be kind of preparing for that strategy of like, what are we going to be implementing over the slow season? That way we can start preparing for that now. Because again, you want to make sure we're getting our occupancy up through this last month or two opportunity to kind of drive occupancy up. And then also, what's my rate increase strategy going to look like going into the slow season?
And to speak to that, move-outs are also a pain during the slow season in wintertime as far as your tenants go. Like their willingness to move out. It's cold, it's uncomfortable, they're busy, it's Christmas. So keep that in mind when you're, developing the strategy for the slow season or to prepare for the slow season.
For sure. Yeah, because I mean, we've talked to multiple operators around this sort of thing of like, you want to have your scheduled rate increases, and we've seen that works really well. Again, so for most operators, I would recommend you're doing 2 rate increases a year, so every 6 months, and you're doing smaller incremental rate increases, right? So we just have talked to so many people that works better than the yearly larger rate increase if that's what you're doing now. A 10% rate increase once a year drives more move-outs than 5% rate increases. Again, this is what we're seeing now that more people are tracking data on, when I implement a rate increase or a pricing change or a strategy that changes my pricing. What's driving the most move-outs, and so from what we're hearing, that's what's working best for most facilities.
And what we can see
too smaller.
We
have tons of data from all of the facilities that we're working with. But so going into that though, a lot of what I think about too is being strategic in when I implement those, and trying to get my facilities where my rate increases are happening between November and January. Primarily around Christmas, and it might seem almost ignorant to do this to your tenants because of Christmas. However, it is an opportunity where I know my tenants are super busy in December. I can raise their rates around then. They're going to be spending tons of money already. They're not going to really feel that 5% increase if I hit them with a 5% increase in December. And they're not going to move out. Everybody has Christmas parties, and I mean the Christmas season is insane for everybody, and so structuring those
too as far as the weather goes.
In our market, it's cold, there's snow, and nobody wants to move out of a storage facility in December
because of a 5% increase.
Right,
and what helps them receive that 5% increase is I've talked to operators that condition their tenants. Like when they move in, they say now there will be scheduled rate increases every 6 months. They're small. You can kind of condition them so that they aren't caught off guard. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that way it kind of reduces the amount of ignorance, I guess, that Ben just said, as far as doing it at the worst time of the year when really it's not. And you've already told them months ahead of time.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of people that I've talked to too have a little bit of hesitancy in doing a pricing increase in the slow season because they're concerned about the move outs that it's going to drive, and then not being able to refill those units. So again, look at your business and see, like, if I'm struggling to get occupancy on my 10 by 20s and they're sitting at 50% occupied, but my 10 by 10s are at 95%, like you need to be looking at specific unit types and then doing your rate increases more strategically. So because we still talk to operators all the time that it's like, hey, we're going to bulk change our rates and everybody gets hit with a 5% increase at the same time. Like I cannot believe the amount of operators that I still talk to that are doing business that way. And it just doesn't make any sense. Initially, I think people did that because it was harder to manage.
There wasn't software that could help. We've freed up a lot of their time. Software has freed up a lot of owner operators' time and management's time, so they can focus on those things, those strategies to strategically increase rates based off of unit type, length of tenancy, length of occupancy, overall occupancy. Right. You have more time to focus on those things because the software has kind of handled the rest of it for you.
For sure. And without that piece, it is difficult to go in and be like, you're running Excel spreadsheet reports and pulling all the data. And again, you can do it. It's just a little more involved. Whereas it's very simple now to go into your software, see what your occupancy rates are on specific unit types, and then make a decision. Having the scheduled rate increase, though, like you're saying that we've talked to operators where they're putting it in the lease and they're just letting the tenants know right up front, like this is coming, kind of conditions them. But you can still make exceptions. You can still do do things differently if all of a sudden you're like, wow, that didn't work. Well, you should know and then make an adjustment the next time that every time that we're making suggestions on rate increases, every facility that we work with, we see a little bit of different, the overall industry as a whole, like we know the data on how much of an increase you can do to drive, 3 to 4% of move outs.
Yeah.
But it does fluctuate a ton based on your market. So
yeah. And where you're located. I mean, we just said that in our market, it's tough to move. I personally wouldn't want to move all of my stuff out of a unit if I had one in the middle of winter during Christmas. But in Arizona, it's probably a little easier, a little warmer. So we get that. But we're just using data that we've seen collectively, and we're kind of letting you guys know what we see. Yeah,
for sure. And when you do your rate increases, then also, make sure you're tracking that information over the next 2 to 3 months. You obviously don't want to do a rate increase and say this rate increase is going into effect December, and then let's see the December move outs. There is going to be a tail to that where it's like, okay, now these people actually moved out in January or February, but it was cyclical based on that rate increase that happened. Yep. So make sure you're looking at some of that data and keeping track of that to make the best decision for your business that you can. Yeah. Because there's a lot more strategy involved in running a facility that can consistently perform well.
Yeah.
There's a lot more strategy in it versus people saying like, oh, my market sucks. Yeah. Or
this is how we've
you
done
can't
it for
do
years.
it in it. You can't do it in my market. And the reason that I bring that up is, we've talked to hundreds of operators at this point who said when we've pitched them on, hey, our software does differential pricing and you're going to pass a fee for the card, and the cash customers don't pay that fee. And we have worked with so many people that said that won't be received well in my market, right? Yeah. I mean, I
love it when I hear that.
It's crazy that, the assumption that business owners make is, hey, this is how it's going to work. Yeah. However, they're wrong almost every single time.
I live in a small town in Montana. My town's very unique. It's like I'm from Paw Paw, West Virginia. We live in the hills of Pennsylvania. It's effective in all 50 states everywhere, but it's how you present it. You know what I mean?
But so, and I'm not necessarily talking about just differential pricing here, but the rate strategy is if you haven't tested it,
try it.
And you didn't try it, there's a chance that you're wrong. Yeah. And so the rate increases, while, a lot of the smaller operators say, oh, wow, the REITs can come in or the publics and they can just increase rates really quickly, and I can't run my business that way. In your market, it may be better received, and if you haven't tried it, it might be worth trying. Yeah. Again, if you're not trying to do things to make your business better and you're just complacent, that's obviously a pretty risky spot to be in. Yeah. But, rate management is different based on the location. It is different based on how a business owner wants to operate. So try things though, right? Like go in and implement a strategy on 25% of your customers and look at those customers and see how they perform versus your other customers. In businesses in general, there's specific things that you can try to do that you can definitely significantly improve your business.
Yeah. Sure.
But if you're just sitting there thinking like, oh, this isn't for me, I can't do it. Yeah. You're probably wrong.
Yeah. I mean, look at all these property management companies or just individual buyers. They'll go to a facility where that owner had that mindset and it was poorly ran, occupancy was low, and they were just like, I'm out. I got a good deal on this. Mm-hmm. Well, it's proof when these other owners or these other groups come in and within 3 months, double the occupancy, you know what I mean? Or just dramatically improve things. Mm-hmm. It worked. And they were a little bit more intense, I'm sure, than a slight rate increase on 25% of the people to test it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It is.
Yeah, they come in aggressive. The reason they come in so aggressive though is because they know it works.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're dealing with somebody who knows what they're doing and they come in and they're very aggressive, they've tested it. Yeah. Right. So if you're hesitant and you're like, oh wow, I'm nervous to try that, it does work. Yeah. And they know it works, so they wouldn't do it. And so like it's even things like the split in operators that are offering significant move-in specials, and then the ones that are scared to offer a move-in special because they don't want to have bad tenants. Both of those strategies can be effective, but you really need to know, like, how fast am I trying to lease up? Yeah. We've worked with some people who are building a new facility, some specifically, that built in, February, March that I've worked with, where they're now getting to 40%, 30%, 40% occupancy. And then they reach out and they're like, hey, I got to do something to boost this up. And it's like, well, there is going to be a ramp up. Like the lease up phase is going to take you a little while. And then I've been working with other facilities that opened in May and did 3 months free and 2 months free and got that significantly that lease up phase significantly shortened.
Yeah.
But now they're dealing with a different problem, and that is some of the tenants are
not paying.
Yeah. And so it's like, pick your poison. You're gonna have struggles regardless of how you run your business. Which ones do you want to deal with? Which ones are you more suited with to deal with? You know, some operators don't like to deal with tenants that they're trying to collect payments on, and so they don't want to do that. So think through the strategies that we even throw at you and make sure it makes sense for your business. Because again, I don't want you to come back and say, "Oh, Ben told me to do this, and that was the worst thing for my business ever."
Yeah,
we just say,
you know what we see, guys.
Yeah. We just hear things, and we hear a lot of things because we talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, we work with over 1,000 facilities now at this point, and in the past 2 years, we've done demos with thousands of facility owners and had many conversations. Ben's met, personally with owners, operators, groups. So we just try to let you guys know what we see is working, and we do understand it depends on the market, your location, and a lot of other factors.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But anyway, all that to kind of wrap up and go back to saying is, the next 4 months are going to be a big part of your business for 2026. Setting yourself up right now to capitalize on the last months to 2 months of the busy season. Even if you have space outside and you can squeeze in boat and RVs and bring in a little bit of additional revenue through that option, that's going to be in its busiest peak, from now, maybe like, a couple of weeks ago for some people, but August to November. And then that's pretty much your window of opportunity to really lease up with boat and RV stuff. So if you have space and you can capitalize on something quick and you can get some of those spaces filled, that's always great. And then you're going to hit a lull in that as well. So it's like you have a month or 2 months yet before you're sitting there trying to figure out what you're going to do for 2026. And so it's definitely a good time right now to be working on that strategy.
Yep. So I do know from experience and just some of the the facilities located in college towns, some strategies are maybe develop a relationship or network with these college communities or these colleges themselves. And they do recommend, they know that their kids need storage, during certain times of the year, and they will recommend your business if you have a good relationship with them, if it's clean, it's secure, or if you're the only one in the area. But it is important to network, and that can go a long way. Even flyers in the dorms, during orientations, to have a booth set up, like many other vendors do. Like, there's a lot of things you can do to help improve that flow as far as the college rush.
For sure, and trying to make sure you capitalize on the move-in week.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Awesome.
Cool, man.
Well, yeah, man, I appreciate you jumping on here with me. And like always, if you have any specific strategies that you're working on at your facility, something that's worked well, something that you've tried and it didn't work and it absolutely blew up, we love to hear those stories and have those conversations with owners and operators to hear how it's actually going for you.
And
so
to share,
if you want to reach out and have a conversation with us, let us know. You can drop a comment in the YouTube video or reach out to us at sales@ccstorage.com. And we'd love to have those conversations. So
cool. Awesome.
This episode of the Self-Storage Insight podcast is brought to you by CC Storage. CC Storage is a self-storage property management software that you can utilize at your business with no monthly costs. It has all the core functionality and automation that you need to efficiently manage your business, but without passing any costs over to your business. So check out ccstorage.com to learn more.